little stark, but indeed civilizations have vanished based on how they used or misused their environment. And we're the next in line, but this time it's different because we're slowly taking down other species as well as ourselves as a global community. As I mentioned, we humans have reached a critical and fragile point in our evolutionary journey as a species. Just in the past 100 years, a blink of an eye, really, we've reached the anthropocene era, where we've acquired the power to negatively change our biosphere and geosphere, the cryo, hydro, and atmosphere. We're ruining the very environs that sustain us and all other life on Earth. Unfortunately, we haven't acquired the wisdom or the maturity to be able to manage this power in a sensible or beneficial manner. In fact, 6 out of 9 identified tipping points or planetary boundaries related to our life support systems on Earth. 6 out of 9 have already been passed. And all 9 boundaries are interconnected. As one collapses, the others will soon follow. A few years ago, a team of 28 internationally renowned scientists identified and quantified planetary boundaries within which humanity can continue to develop and thrive for generations to come. However, crossing these boundaries will generate abrupt and irreversible damage to the environment and create risks for continued human existence. But once again, 6 out of 9 boundaries have now already been crossed. And with the other 3 boundaries, we're exceeding their tolerance levels. The boundaries that we've crossed are with loss of biosphere integrity and extinctions. We've already crossed that. Land system change, gone. Altered biogeochemical flows, such as with phosphorus and nitrogen. Climate change. Accumulation of novel entities, which are microplastics, nanomaterials, and chemical pollution. And the 6th boundary crossed is ocean acidification. Now I think this can be a little too complicated for some people to quickly grasp. So I simply call all this global depletion, which is what I've been calling it for the past 20 years or more. The story for me still always begins with these 2 numbers. There's just a little under 8 billion people, 7.967 billion people living on our planet today, with 200,000 added every single day. So control of the growth of our population is an issue, but it's not nearly the problem as a number on the right and a little lower that you see on the screen, what we're doing to the planet. The number on the right represents the fact that there are more than 80 billion animals living on our planet that we raise and eat for food each year, and it repeats itself year after year in growing numbers. And this is the problem. In fact, this 80 billion number is quite impossible to pin down. And it's very much on the light side because these figures do not include up to 1.7 trillion chickens in the world or the 2 trillion fish in the world that were slaughtered during that same year. So let's look at a graphic about global depletion. Certainly there are other industries that contribute to this picture, but none have the comprehensive impact as animal agriculture. Simply put, we're in overshoot mode, demanding more of our planet's resources than what it can supply. We've been in overshoot mode since 1973. Globally, it would take now 2 full Earths to sustain what we're currently taking from and doing to our planet. Here in the United States, it would require over 5 Earths to support our current lifestyle. It's serious enough on its own merit, but it's made much more so because of the layers of various influences that vary the problem and its solutions. Now, what's critical for everyone to understand that this isn't just an industrial or factory farm issue. No, not at all. It's a raising animals to eat issue. And we're going to see that as we go along. Let's continue refining our thoughts on global warming or climate change. First, we need to remember that global warming and climate change, well, that's just one component of the much larger, more insidious problem of global depletion, the more total effect we have on our planet. And again, it's not all caused by the energy sector. Well, discussions regarding global warming and climate change have now taken front stage nearly everywhere. It must be remembered, though, that the climate change will have the effects of exacerbation. It takes events and makes matters worse. So global warming and climate change, for instance, will not be the initial cause of these categories of global depletion. We cause these things. Climate change will worsen them. Well, these climate change reports were released very recently. The IPCC, or the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report that you see on the screen just came out 45 days ago or so, documenting the work of over 450 scientists. And the reports are gloomy at best, that we're breaking a number of records we shouldn't be so proud of, finding that last year was the 5th warmest on record, despite being cooled part of the year by La Nina. And from 2013 through this year, well, they rank as the 10 warmest years on record. Global temperature has now reached a 1.2 degrees centigrade rise above pre-industrial times, a new record. Concentration of greenhouse gas emissions in our atmosphere reached 420 parts per million just yesterday, a new record. Oceans are now rising over 4 millimeters per year, a new record, having risen faster and becoming warmer and more acidic than ever in recorded history. In fact, the oceans are becoming more acidic at a faster rate than ever seen in the past 56 million years. Well, many of us, certainly most of you attending this wonderful event, not everybody, but most of us understand that climate change is real. You understand and appreciate the implications of unabated global warming, and that we humans play an important role in becoming resilient and adapting to it. But instead of just becoming resilient to climate change or adapting to it, I would suggest we all understand some simple, unfiltered basics of what really causes climate change, how to most easily and effectively solve the problem, and what realistic timelines that we're confronted with. And then I would suggest we try to reverse it. Well, the basics look like this. Our planet is warming in an accelerated fashion, which then causes our climate to change. The more it warms, the more drastic our climate and temperatures and weather patterns will be. Well, this global warming is due to excessive greenhouse gases that are produced on Earth. Some are from natural causes, such as volcanoes, wetlands, Arctic tundra, and our oceans, but our planet's always had a beautiful way of balancing those small amounts that have been produced historically by simply sequestering or drawing down those gases back into the land, our land and oceans. Except whenever this has been drastically imbalanced millions of years ago, which caused mass extinctions. But significant greenhouse gas imbalance is happening again today. Until around 1750 to 1850, the time referred to as pre-industrial, the amount of greenhouse gas emissions produced naturally on Earth had always been around 17 to 29 gigatons per year. Since the 1850s, though, we humans, through our everyday actions and choices, are now creating more than 2 times that much each year, around 39 to 64 gigatons per year. And our planet, because of this, has warmed again between 1.1 to 1.2 degrees centigrade since that pre-industrial time of 1850. So this excess greenhouse gas accumulation in our atmosphere is what's causing global warming. The 3 gases most associated with global warming are carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. There are a few others involved as well. Since carbon dioxide is the most prevalent emitted gas at just under 75%, and is mostly caused by the burning of fossil fuels, gas, oil, coal, it has become the focal point, the center of attention of all efforts of those who know we need to address climate change, businesses, policymakers, or the media. So let's go after carbon dioxide. But that's not the gas that we should be entirely focused on. Today, at nearly 2,000 parts per billion, 3 times what it was in 1850, methane is responsible for 30% of the rise we've seen in global warming since those pre-industrial times. 60% of all methane emissions are from human activities. And furthermore, livestock, animal agriculture, is responsible for nearly 1/2 of all human-induced methane emissions globally. More than gas, more than oil, more than coal. Methane is 86 times more powerful than carbon dioxide as a global warming agent over a 20-year time frame. In fact, at the point of initial emission, methane is 120 times more powerful than carbon dioxide. And now carbon dioxide stays in our atmosphere for hundreds to thousands of years, but methane breaks down shortly after 8 to 10 years and then turns into carbon dioxide and water vapor, which are also greenhouse gases in our atmosphere, and then it hangs out longer. And despite the pandemic during the year 2020, we witnessed the largest 1-year jump in methane emissions on record, even though we weren't traveling as much and burning fossil fuels, but we were consuming meat. So to stop further climate change, we need to drop human-induced greenhouse gases, not just carbon dioxide, but from all sources that we're emitting today. But drop it back down to what? All climate change organizations and experts today, they believe that we need to cut emissions to 1/2 of what they were in 2020 by the year 2030, and to get to 0 net emissions by the year 2050. But others, including me, believe that it's too late for that approach. So the first step is to be clear on where most of these human-produced greenhouse gases are coming from, what industries, what sectors are the largest emitters. Then there should be swift action to stop them from emitting. Then the second issue should be well, what happens to all that extra carbon dioxide that's still left in our atmosphere and likely will be there for the next few hundreds of years? But so let's first attack those large emitters of greenhouse gases. Who are they?